Well, good morning, everyone. Craig back at you again on the 2018 Honda Goldwing. Out and about on a beautiful, beautiful day. I really can't complain. This year started out with a really, bad spring. Not great riding weather, but I tell you, the summer has not disappointed. I've been able to get out and really enjoy myself and get a little bit of riding in. And so the thought that came to mind, I was sitting around the house yesterday, talking with my son, and we were talking about different types of bikes. And, he's a young guy, and, actually he's not even of driving age yet, 15 years old. And naturally, as a lot of young people, he has the fascination with the sport bikes, think they look cool, likes them. And told me whenever he starts riding, he wants to get a sport bike, which is a whole different conversation. A young person on a sport bike could equal disaster. But, different conversation for a different day. But what made me think about when I had that conversation with him is that when we are buying our bikes, when you got your bike, what was more of importance? What was precedence? Was it the appeal, the appearance of the bike, over the functionality of the bike? And I say that to say this, again, going back to the sport bike. Sport bikes, for some people, they just look cool. They look like what they are, fast bikes. And if you buy a sport bike, in my opinion, you're buying it really because of the look. You like how it looks, you like how the posture you have on the bike, everything is cool about the bike. But are you really buying it for the functionality of the bike? Because if you buy a sport bike, and a sport bike is, they're made to go fast. I mean, I know they have some sport bikes that are 300 cc's. They're not the fastest, bikes you would call out there. But, let's just take that 300 cc category out. And 650 and up and everything, the sport bikes with the bigger engines. You can go, some of these bikes 140, 160 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour. So the functionality of the bike to me is to go fast. I got this bike, can corner well, can go fast. But when you're buying a sport bike, for all my sport bike fans or for people that own sports bikes, where do you take advantage of that functionality? I mean, unless you set up track days and you're going to the track, you're really not able to take a full advantage of that, because you can't be out on these highways, on these roads, going 130, 120. I mean, technically, I guess you can, but it's not recommended, because these roads aren't made for that. They're not made for that speed. They're not maintained for that speed, which always, really baffles me when I see the sport bikes out on the interstates and they're just going, like a bat out of hell. And I'm thinking, okay, if you took it to the track, the tracks are maintained for that. I went to, not that I was at a motocross or a bike race, but I went to had the opportunity to go to a NASCAR race, and just looking at how they prep the track. I mean, they have big blowers out there. They make sure there's not a speck of debris on these tracks, so that it can interfere with your driving ability. And I would make the same assumption when you go out to a track for motorcycles. They take the same type of care maintaining these tracks. So you can go around a corner at 75, 80 miles an hour. And again, I might be speaking out of my butt because I've never been to a track, so I don't know how fast they go. But you know what I'm saying. You could probably get up to 115, 120 miles an hour. But it's designed for that. So you're not getting the functionality of that sport bike by riding around the street. So did you buy that sport bike just because you liked the way it looked? You like the power, you like the way it looked, but you knew functionally, I'll never be able to, use this bike to its full potential. And let's take it out of the sport bike category, because it had me thinking. I've got this bike here, 2018 Honda Goldwing, which is the Tour. And one of the things when I bought this bike, I want to tour with the bike. I want to go places. So this is the beginning of August. My plan still is to go to Wingding at the end of August in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm gonna leaving for Buffalo, New York. I'm gonna ride this thing the whole way. I know some people trailer, but I bought the bike to ride, to go on long distances, so now I'm doing it. I'll do that with it. And that's why I wanted this bike. I want to use, first of all, I thought the bike, the appearance, getting back to my original question, I like the appearance of the bike. But secondly, I wanted a bike that I could utilize the functionality. I want a touring motorcycle. So I have bags, I have cruise control, I have all these things. So I want to take full advantage of it. For those of you that watch my channel, let's say you do have a Goldwing, or you have a Harley Tour, or a Kawasaki Tour, any other touring bikes. Are you taking advantage of that functionality of the bike? Are you going any long distances with these bikes? And if not, why not? And it could be just because you liked how the bike looked. You wanted a big bike, you liked how it looked, and that's okay. And even when I say this, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm just saying that, in everyone's particular decision making, what was the primary focus? Appearance, functionality. Again, getting back to also, I have a cruiser. Those of you that have cruisers, we talked about sports bikes, we talked about cruisers. We talked about the touring bikes, now we're talking about cruisers. For those of you that have a cruiser, are you taking advantage of that? Did you buy it because you liked the way it looked? Or did you say, or in addition, maybe you said, hey, I don't go anywhere. I'm just going to cruise around town. And so I don't need a bag. I don't need a bike that has all the bags and the bells and the whistles and everything else. I'm just going to cruise around. What's more important? What percentage would you put on it as far as appearance and as far as functionality? Are you taking advantage of that functionality? One of the things that I think looks cool, I like these like adventure bikes or whatever you call them. I guess whatever like the Honda Africa Twin is, I think that's an adventure bike. That's what the category is. I like them. They seem like they sit up high, and never driven one. I don't know if they're comfortable. They just look good to me. But the functionality of it, from my understanding, those bikes are made to handle well on the road and handle well, off-road. Well, I'm not going to be going off-road that I know of. I don't go on too many gravelly, if that even is a word, gravelly roads. I try to stay off of them. So if I bought that bike, I'd be buying because I like it. It's cool. I like how it looks. I don't ever plan to take advantage of the functionality of it, but I like the way it looks. So what do you have? What do you do? And what's most important to you? Is it 50-50? I'm kind of interested, because that goes back to my original conversation with my son. Sport bike, great looking bikes. They look sharp. They look cool. But you're never going to get the functionality out of that bike. And maybe that's not what you want. You don't need that. You just want a cool looking bike. So anyway, just food for thought. How are you utilizing your bike? And are you underutilizing it? So if you don't mind, put your comments below. I like to see what people have to say. And as always, try to get out and enjoy yourself. And motorcycling might not be your thing. That's okay. Just do what you do. Just do it. Whatever it is that you do. Have a great day. And thanks for watching the video.